are children who have been taken to Uganda. That's a big lie. All of the children in Endarasha have been accounted for. I can tell you that as government spokesman. And let's allow families to mourn, because there are stages of mourning. So let us not go into the details of trying to, let's not disturb those that need also to be given time to maybe to go for DNA autopsy, and they get settled, that maybe they need to, to come to terms with what has happened, because that is our support mechanism. And we don't need to be callous and insensitive. We regret that we've lost the lives of fellow Kenyans, young people, and that is why now there's going to be an inspection of all the public facilities, and there are new guidelines. In fact, we've agreed with the CS Ogamba, and he's pronounced himself on that we actually are going to come up with a legislation with his background as a lawyer, so that then people can actually be held culpable. It's not just a question of policies and regulations. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are open. We want to have this discussion. We want you to understand our scorecard. You give us the feedback so that we can move forward. On the issue of Adani, let me just address clearly and say the JKIA is just a proposal. Now there's a settlement. You saw the agreement. But we need to share this information, because we don't have the capacity as government to have 250 billion to build a new airport. So when you have a privately initiated proposal, they bring it on the table. We will go through public participation. It's a give and take and agree, so that we end up having with a new terminal. Because we are using tents, 10 years old, they are leaking. You can see the embarrassment, power outages, long queues, because we are processing 8.6 million passengers against a capacity of 7.2 with a 45-year-old airport. Really, we need to be modern. Otherwise, you go to our neighbors, they are doing much better. Even when it comes to Maisha number, it's only our ID that is not digitized. Yet when every time we want to do something, somebody runs to court, oh, I don't know what's happening. Let us start to developing trust with the government. Let's start knowing that there is a very genuine endeavor by this administration to make things work and to turn things around. So with those many and few remarks, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itainuka, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Office under the leadership of President William Ruto, his administration embarked on a transformative mission to uplift Kenyans through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. This agenda has been the cornerstone of our government's vision, built on 5 pillars, that is agriculture, micro, small, and medium enterprise economy, affordable housing, universal health care, the digital superhighway, and the creative economy. This strategic blueprint, envisioned under the Kenya Kwanza administration, has laid the foundation for an inclusive and prosperous Kenya. Today, the government is proud to report significant progress in each of these areas, highlighting the achievements that have positively transformed the lives of millions of Kenyans. On agriculture, feeding the nation and growing the economy, we are all aware that agriculture is the backbone of Kenya's economy and is a core pillar of the Better Plan. It directly contributes to our GDP's 25% and supports other economic pillars such as manufacturing by boosting the GDP by a further 27%. Agriculture also employs directly or indirectly an estimated 40% of our population. Recognizing that food accounts for 54% of household expenditure in Kenya, the government has prioritized lowering the cost of living through targeted agricultural reforms. These reforms focus on shifting from consumption subsidies to production subsidies with a clear aim to boost agricultural productivity. These objectives include reducing farm inputs and also increasing farmers' incomes. These costs of farm inputs have been detrimental to productivity, but the real aim is to create more jobs in the agricultural sector and enhancing productivity through value chain addition. To achieve these goals, the government has implemented 2 key strategies: the fertilizer subsidy program, which lowers input costs and improves yields, and initiates the enhancement of agricultural productivity and value chain. focusing on adding value to products to improve market competitiveness and farmer profitability. The fertilizer subsidy program involved in a digital registration of all farmers, and the subsequent provision of low-cost fertilizer has really ensured that the current number registered under our digital platform has increased from very few numbers to 6.15 million farmers. And this has facilitated the distribution of low-cost fertilizer and providing essential planning data. The number of fertilizer bags disbursed increased from 1.4 million in the year 2022 to 8.6 million in the year 2024, while the cost of per bag dropped from 6,000 to 2,500. As a result, maize production rose by 38.9% from 61.74 million to 85.7 million bags, reducing maize imports by 33.7%. The cost of a 2 kg packet of maize flour also fell by 23.3% from Kenya shillings 169.9 to 130.8. The government's agricultural reforms have significantly improved key agricultural value chains. In the tea sector, the removal of VAT on locally sourced tea and support for MSMEs boosted smallholder farmer earnings by 15.8%. In the edible oil sector, sunflower farming acreage increased by 8.3% through seed distribution. The leather industry saw a 30% rise in processing capacity utilization, aided by initiatives such as operationalization of the Karioka manufacturing facility. The dairy sector experienced a 35% increase in milk prices, boosting production by 13%. Paddy rice and meal rice production rose by 19% and 14% respectively. Cotton cultivation expanded by 332% due to seed and pesticide distribution. These interventions have enhanced productivity, reduced costs, and improved farmer incomes, contributing to broader socioeconomic transformation. And you can see quite a number of farmers are really happy because of that. And all of us can feel this because it is cheaper to actually buy things, noting very well even the stabilization of the Kenya shillings against the dollar from a high of 162 to only 130 currently, against increased interest rates by the Federal Reserve in America. That has been very, very good. In fact, the Kenyan shilling has been cited as one of the strongest, only second to Argentina globally in terms of its resilience against the dollar. Yet, we've also maintained a lower inflation. So that is really, really commendable, because that means we are getting it right in terms of macroeconomics. We've also been able to pay the Eurobond without defaulting when everybody wanted us to throw it. Because part of why we are strengthening agriculture is to also ensure that we increase our foreign income earnings. And it's also very good to say that we are no longer importing sugar, because we are producing from our companies locally, and now we don't need to import sugar. The cost of production of 1 ton of sugar has moved really, really lower in such a competitive manner as compared to other jurisdictions like Brazil. And that's very commendable. Now we are not importing sugar even from our neighbors who are actually even complaining. That's really, really a great thing. Now when we turn to micro, small, and medium enterprise, in terms of empowering small businesses for economic growth, we know very well that 85% of the workforce in Kenya are employed in this sector. So the Kenya Kwanza government has been able to place more focus on supporting this sector to contribute towards the economic transformation of Kenya through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, popularly known as the BETA. It aspires to transform the MSME economy to absorb the young Kenyans joining the workforce every year, and to grow the operational surplus for workers. To achieve this, the government is committed to providing access to financing, enhancing infrastructure and capacity building, while also addressing issues that previously hampered the sector's growth. And this is the progress that has been done so far. Number one, we've been able to refurbish and equip 21 county industrial development centers, CIDCs, which provide spaces for MSMEs and create opportunities for formal and informal employment. So these centers that have been revived include the leather value chain in Suneka, Isiolo South, Malindi, Runyenjes, and Banisa, the textile value chain in Mwea, Kitale, Olkalau, and Embakasi North, the dairy value chain in Machakos Town, Kajiado Central, Ilasit, Iten, and Aldai, Kobujoy, and edible oils in Kangema, Udhaya, and Londiani, and of course construction and building value chains in Funyula, Marimanti, Kianyaga, and Choni. And we are constructing another 19 industrial parks. So please differentiate the two. The county industrial development centers are for MSME, small and micro, but the parks are for production, so that you don't confuse the two. So they are going on at various stages, co-funded by the two levels of government. And also the financing from the Hustler Fund, which has been able to benefit 21.87 million people, with 54.9 billion shillings rotating, revolving around the fund. It's not new money. The money is put in is far much less than 54 billion. And the borrowers have been able to save 3.1 billion. 673,340 groups have received 1.8 million in terms of money, and they have saved 9.3 million and counting. When it comes to affordable housing, which is a right under Article 43 of the Constitution, we have been able to have 112,405 units completed or ongoing, and also generating over 160,000 direct and indirect jobs. A fund of 4.4 billion has been ring-fenced for MSMEs. So you can see the linkages of the 5 pillars. They are not just standalone. And we have the mortgage refinancing that has been able to be increased by 1,005 from 2,502 in 2022 to 3,527 in 2024 and counting. The government recognizes that there are people who know what they do best, but they have no papers, and so therefore 213 Juakali artisans have actually been certified through prior learning assessment. And that is also why we have the Open University of Kenya as well, which has got 3,289 students, up from 1,500, so that you can do that as you work. On UHC, we are very okay to say that, again, it's a right under Article 43, the socioeconomic rights, and now we have the 3 legislations. The way they are structured is such that we have proper records. Level 1 to 3 is going to be free, and also they can use the monies they may actually get sometimes at source to do their facilities. Level 4 to 6, you pay 300 and upwards, and then there's a critical care fund. All of these are aimed at ensuring that we reduce the burden of care when it comes to us not benefiting from strong bodies. And we know health is a primary focus going forward. And in that regard, of course, KEMSA has been strengthened to the extent that over 500 million shillings worth of drugs have been distributed, and we will continue to do so. And also the CHPs, community health promoters, being put on a 5,000 stipend. They've been given, some working kits, and also to ensure that they are properly, coordinated. One for every, 100 households. 107,000 up from 89,000 previously that were disjointed and not properly coordinated. And new level 4, 5, and 6 hospitals in Narumoru, Ugenya, Keroka, Endebess, Kibogua, and Usigeti. So this is very, very good, Kerugoya and Margaret Kenyatta and Jaramogi. This is very, very important so that we do not congest the National Referral Center or Referral Hospital. Under the digital superhighway, we have been able actually to increase the fiber optic cable by 111% to 18,767 kilometers, and 1,490 Wi-Fi hotspots have been established. Additionally, 274 digital hubs have been set up across the country, and 16,804 digital devices have been distributed. The Ajira and Jitumbe programs have seen a dramatic increase of 409% in digital jobs, employing 122,711 youth, while digital literacy training has surged by 598%, preparing 516,505 youth for online work. In fact, the president is in Germany to negotiate for a bilateral on labor export, but some of these jobs will also be done online. So Kenyans, please take up these trainings so that you can be working from here. I remember meeting a young lady, interestingly called Charlene, who was working as an HR assistant for a US company, and she was just seated somewhere in a hotel, actually, just working. You just go there. So now you need to go to the public Wi-Fi's and just work from there. If you don't have Wi-Fi at your home. And of course, we believe that because of the competitiveness in the market, even the cost of bundles, they are going to go down. And in this regard also, digitization of government services, I think the latest figures is now we have been able to digitize under eCitizen 20,855 services, up from only 350 in 2022. That's actually an increase, that is very, very phenomenal. And also the revenue that government is getting from 1.55 billion in 2022 to a whopping 10 billion per month. In fact, our target is to get maybe $1 billion a day, but that is a work in progress. So basically, the data plan is really ambitious. We aim to construct 250,000 houses, creating a lot of jobs for Kenyans, 700,000 houses, millions and millions of jobs, actually 1 million jobs going forward, but even more. And we are calling upon Kenyans to really support this government. We are approaching the midterm. Today, back in 2 years, usually by that time people get a little bit disaffected because they are yet to see proper results. There is a lot that is happening. Let us avoid misinformation and disinformation, like people say.